Hello, everybody,
Hello.
and welcome to the Experience the Power of Coactive Coaching webinar.
We are thrilled to have you here with us today, and we've got some fun things in store for you all.
Yeah. So as we get settled, we're going to give a couple of minutes for people to arrive and get settled. Feel free to put your location of where you're calling in from in the chat. Let us know where you are in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always good to see where people are calling in from.
We've
We've
got
got
Berlin, Germany,
Toronto, Canada, New Jersey, San Diego, Brussels,
Brussels,
Detroit,
Sweden, Norway. Love the diversity we have in this space here. And
Athens, Greece, Berkeley,
holy moly,
California, the
all the
Netherlands.
different time zones. Wow.
So wonderful. This is the miracle of online webinars that we can all be together from all over the world.
Yeah.
Portugal, from Denver, but in Louisiana. I'm in Boulder, so I'm close to Denver.
Croatia. Oh my goodness. Greece,
Liverpool, Portland,
Netherlands.
Luxembourg. Oh, I was just in Luxembourg. It's a beautiful country. Yeah, so welcome everyone.
Yeah, we are so happy to have you all here with us today.
Yeah. So here's where we're heading. Um, we're gonna head, and if you could put up, I wanted to introduce before we head there, we've got two incredible helpers with us today, Georgetta and Laura, and you may see them pop in to the webinar every now and then to help us out or to answer a question. They're sort of helping out with the behind the scenes. So there's actually four of us here in the leadership team to help with this webinar and to guide you all through and getting some great information about coactive coaching.
Yes, yes. And then there's you and me, Michelle.
Yes.
So
So
we're
why
going to
don't you
hold
tell them a
space.
little bit about you, Tina Marie?
Yeah, okay, great idea. My name is Tina Marie Meyer. I am calling in from another Canadian here. I'm faculty here at CTI, and I'm also an ICF certified coach. I've been coaching Gulp for 20 years now. Stepped into my fundamentals as a participant in 2004, and boy, has it changed my life. So since then, I have been coaching people of all different ages and stages in their world, and one of my specialties is working with youth and educators and families, students from CTI that are in their certification, pretty much anyone that's interested in personal growth and relationship coaching is my shtick. And I'm thrilled to be here with you all. What about you, Michelle? Tell us about you.
Oh, my name is Michelle Maloy Dillon, and I'm calling in from Boulder, Colorado in the US. And I'm also a faculty member for the Coactive Training Institute, teaching the coach training courses, all of the courses. And I also have a business where I coach leaders in the social impact space, leaders who have been promoted or find themselves in leadership positions that really haven't had a lot of training in how to be a leader, and it causes a lot of anxiety. And so I help them to really create the impact they want to have as a leader in their organization and in the world, and to experience less anxiety while they do that. So that's a particular area of passion for me as well. I also coach students going through coactive coaching certification as well. And I've been coaching for, it's been about 11 years now, Tina Marie. So yeah, I am in my groove. I love this career, and I'm in my groove now, so it's great.
I know. I bet we could talk for an hour easily about how much CTI has influenced us in our lives,
For
personally as
sure.
well as professionally. But
Yeah.
we can save that for another day. And
Yeah.
today we really want to welcome you to the world of coactive. And we have a lovely agenda for you today for what we're going to be spending time with you doing over the next 53 minutes or so. And do we want to pop up that? Oh, let's get a little idea.
That's great.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Georgetta, I'm diving in ahead of time, but I'm curious. Like, we know how many people are here and where you are all from in the world. I have a question for you. thinking of a skill we call bottom lining, because we don't get to actually see you and have conversations with you unless you're going to be one of our practice clients. I have a question for you, like, what are you hoping to get out of this webinar? It's just a curious question. I don't know that we're going to answer it, but it just might be kind of fun to get that energy in the space.
Put that in the chat if you've got some things that you're wanting out of this webinar. And we'll walk you through sort of where we're heading as well. So we're going to go through sort of a definition of what is coaching. Some of you may be coming to this space already being coaches or familiar with what coaching is. Some of you may be brand new to coaching as well. We're going to teach you a coaching tool. We're going to learn a coaching tool, and you'll be able to witness a live demo. And when we say witness a live demo, we're actually going to have one of you, if you're willing, be a client for myself. I'll be the coach today. And you'll get to practice this coaching tool with me as a client. So just sort of think in your back of your head, we're not heading there right away, but think in the back of your head if this is you, like if you're ready to step in as a client.
And we'll set you up for that. We'll walk you through it with us, and we encourage you to follow your urge. And when we ask, just put your name in the chat, and we'll see who we pick. We'll see who gets to come up and do this. So then you'll get to experience, once we've had the demo, you'll get to see the experiences occur between the coach and the client, wanting you to focus on, of course, what the coach is doing. And then we'll do a debrief, and we'll sort of unpack, like we've just made a batch of cookies, all the ingredients that were in it. So we'll unpack that with you all in the room. That'll be our debrief. And then we'll do a bit of Q&A at the end of today. And again, this will all be done through the chat. And Michelle and I will be reading questions out loud and answering them for you all.
Yeah, we'll do our best to answer all the questions that come up for you as well.
And thank you for putting all these juicy bits and pieces into the chat about what you would like to get out of today. We see some continue to grow in my practice as a coach, want to see some coaching in action, want an intro before the fundamentals course starts. This is a perfect place for that. A live demo, they want to see it. They want to grow as a coach. Sweet, there's some really lovely nuggets.
I want to see seasoned practitioners in action in the coactive approach. No pressure, Tina Marie.
Well, what I hope you'll notice is Michelle and I get to dance with each other, because what ends up happening is we've not rehearsed this. We've not figured out exactly who's going to do what, except we do know Michelle is going to be the demo coach. That is one thing we know. We also, as Michelle referred earlier to, we don't know who our client's going to be. So that's going to be new to us as well. And the dance that Michelle and I have with each other, we've never worked together before in this capacity. So we're dancing in the moment with each other. And you may notice us finishing each other's sentences or talking over each other, and want you to know that this is something we've designed between us. And we believe it's better to be real and messy than perfect. So you may get to see a bit of that.
And I know someone in the chat had mentioned as well, I want to better understand the CTI approach. This is also the CTI approach, and very much how we run the courses at CTI. They're always co-led with two leaders who are very experienced in coactive coaching. And there's a dance between the leaders, much like Tina Marie and I are having in this particular call, where you get different perspectives and different ways of doing things from the two experts in front of the room. So this is a good taste of that. I'm glad you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
All righty. So should we talk a little bit about the definition of coaching?
Well, let's go into a little. I just want to be transparent with folks, Tina Marie, because you were heading in that direction, and I want to build off of it. We call this designing an alliance in coactive coaching. And Tina Marie was already heading in that direction with you all in terms of designing an alliance with all of you who are watching this webinar and Tina Marie, to know that we have a designed alliance between us, that we might interrupt each other or add on to what each other says. And we've got full permission from each other to do that. We also, in our designed alliance in coactive coaching, want to create some agreements with you. And one of those agreements is nothing in this webinar is scripted. We are speaking from our hearts, from our knowledge, from what's going on. No idea who's going to be our demo coaching client for today. And we want to design, especially in this group, that normally in coaching, we have confidentiality with our clients in coaching. In this particular situation, in this webinar, we need you to know that this webinar is not confidential. So if you are willing in the future to step in as a coaching client for this call, know that it will not be confidential. So choose a topic that you're comfortable having out in the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful pointing. Thank you so much for capturing this, right? That last piece Michelle just said, out in the world, because this webinar is being recorded, and it will be shared on all of our social media platforms. So just know the whole world will get to know you, and I'm sure they
And
will
that being
fall in
said,
love with
like,
you too.
pick a real topic to be coached on. And that's something
Yes.
in all of our coactive coaching courses. We have authentic, real topics that we coach. This is not something that is scripted in any particular way. There's no role playing. So bring something real and you'll get some real coaching and some benefit out of it for yourself. Yeah. So now let's talk about what the heck is this coaching thing, Tina Marie?
Right. There's so many different ways to hold it. So many different ways. And we do have a definition here from the International Coaching Federation. So I am going to read that piece just so that we get this particular spot. Oh, good. And we even have a slide. What is coaching? Coaching is a partnering with individuals in a thought-provoking, creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Boom. Like, who doesn't want that, right?
And that's the official definition. And when I think about coaching, I think about I love that word partnering, because it is partnering with another human being to uncover the best way forward for them, the best path for them. There's an aspect of being curious, getting lost alongside my client in order to uncover the best way forward by the end of a coaching session.
So what I'm hearing you say, and there's so many things behind this, you're not coming with an agenda as far as what you want for the client with specific details. You're coming with your skills of being a coach, and just knowing that in that space of using your levels of listening and your powerful questions, being curious, dancing with your client where they're at, you both will get to some often magical place of transformation.
And it's what really sets coaching apart from some other things, because coaching is not fixing people's problems or coming up with solutions.
Yeah, there's no advice giving.
Nope.
We're not going to tell you what to do and when to do it and how to do it. That's not
Yeah.
going to come from us coaches.
Which can be challenging for new coaches, because boy, are we experts in giving advice in our other lives, right? The rest of our lives.
Very well rewarded for it actually in the world, is to come up with solutions and to find the right answers. And so that is that piece that we find certainly in fundamentals. Sometimes it's hard for us to, as students in this new way of being, to separate from that. It's so well set up. You're so well held that usually by the end you're going, I've been waiting my whole life for this way of being.
Yeah. In coactive coaching, one of our cornerstones in our coactive model is that people are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. And we come to coactive coaching very much from that perspective, that actually the people we're working with, our clients, are fully capable human beings. And sometimes they get lost along the way. And so we talk about uncovering. It's like peeling an onion, peeling back the layers of an onion that have grown over the years, right, to find that solution or that best self of that human being that actually knows the right way forward for them.
Yeah. Oh, it's so juicy. There's so many things to talk about with this. And I'm imagining we might want to
Yeah, let's
explore
go into
who.
it. Let's introduce our coaching tool.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
do it because
All
we
right.
don't know exactly who is going to be our client.
Well,
We
maybe
want to
we'll
set,
introduce the coaching tool first. Let's
yeah,
introduce the coaching tool. People can get kind of a sense of what this tool is. And we'd encourage all of you as Tina Marie and I talk through this coaching tool, and Josetta, you can change the slide at this point to the next slide. Do this exercise for yourself, even if you're not going to be the client here in front of the group. You'll get something out of this for yourself. So we call this the wheel of life.
yeah. And if you don't have access to this particular piece of paper that you see on the slide, you can draw your own wheel of life. We do this quite regularly with our clients. You may need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, but a great big circle, and then I do a line in the middle, line across, and then a great big X marks the spot. And then you can start labeling the sections of the wheel of life as they are in the slide that you see.
So the ways that we have these labeled currently is career is one segment of that. We call this a pie. I mean, it looks like a piece of pie with a slice of pie. Career, family and friends is the next one. You might split that in half if you want, because what we're going to have you do is look at each of these quadrants of this pie, and we're going to have you actually score yourself in terms of how satisfied are you in this particular area in your life at this moment in time, at this moment right now. So don't think too hard
Knowing,
about it.
yeah,
It changes often, but at this moment in time, we're going to
yeah.
have you score yourself. If it's a 1, you're not very satisfied with it. If it's a 10, it's really going well. Okay. So
And for some, when you think of, say, an example, significant other, I'm not in partnership right now. So I might automatically think, oh, well, I must be at like a 2 or a 1 because I don't have a partner. When in fact, I'm actually doing really well and I'm at choice right now with not having a partner. So it's not so much how the external world might look at us, but it's really checking in with ourselves. How are
yeah.
we feeling in these beautiful sections of our day-to-day lives?
Fun and recreation, that part might be, what you do outside of work, or it might be, what brings you joy during the weekend, or, you get to identify what this area is for yourself. Health, how you're feeling in your physical, mental, emotional health. Money, what that is like for you. The area of personal growth, however you identify
I
you.
make up the fact that you're here in this course. Your
Y'all
chances
get
are
a
you get
10.
to maybe raise that by a number already. And then when it comes to physical environment, right? For some people, it's like, oh, what do you mean? Physical environment, you get to pick and choose. It could be the space in which you are right now. It could be your car. When I talk to young people, they're like, what do you mean physical environment? I'm like, well, like, are you like, do you have a room to yourself? Do you have a space in your world that is yours, that you have some power and control over? So those are different ways in which you can understand or unpack physical environment.
It could even be your immediate neighbors on your street. It could be the town you live in, like however you
Mm,
identify physical environment. Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So spend a minute just, scoring yourself 1 through 10 on these different areas. We're going to use this tool in the coaching demo today. So know that that's where we're heading, is seeing how this tool can be used in coaching and helping your client identify a topic. Yeah. So I see a couple of, I've been trying to monitor the chat
I see.
as we're
Yeah.
talking. My
Multitasking.
area of brilliance, I have to say.
Well, I couldn't tell, so I'd say you did pretty good.
Okay, thank you. And because there's a lot in the chat, and I can't see if there's anyone else, I noticed that Lorenz would love to be coached today. That's just the last comment I can see. There's a heart emoji next to it, so it made my eye go to it.
Boom. Okay, so we're hoping then, Lorenz, that you will be able to have your wheel of life worked out, and looks like Georgette is bringing you on screen. So if you can hear us, if you can come off mute and bring your video on, which you are doing.
I can hear you, yes.
Yay! Have you had a chance to number this, or do you still need a little bit of time?
Yes, I've done it in my head. I didn't write it down.
Okay.
That sounds great. Tina Marie, just as a moment of designing with you,
Yes,
let's see, we're doing well on time, I think.
we are.
If you could come in at about 12 minutes, if you could come on screen and just give me a wave, and that'll let me know sort of where we're at with time.
Sweet. Okay, well, have fun. You go on.
Okay, thank you, Tina Marie. Hi, Lorenz. Thanks for being the courageous client here.
Hi, thank you. Looking forward to this.
Wonderful. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in Berlin, in Germany.
Okay, wonderful. One of my cities I hope to visit someday.
Yeah, I can highly recommend it. I am originally from Austria.
Okay.
I moved here 5 years ago and I love it.
Wonderful. Well, let's get started. So what I've got here is I've got the Wheel of Life written on this whiteboard, and I'm going to take a few notes just as you give me sort of the numbers of how you scored yourself in these different areas so I can keep track. Okay.
Great.
So tell me, how did you rate career?
Career, I would say, is at a 7 right now.
Okie doke. And family and friends?
That's a 4.
Okay. Significant other or romance?
That's a 9.
Okie doke. Fun and recreation?
Also a 9.
Okay. Health?
8.
Money?
7.
All right. Personal growth?
Probably 10.
All right. Yeah, you're here.
I'm here. Yeah.
Physical environment?
8.
8. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do here, and bear with me for a second, is I am imagining that I'm connecting these numbers. I'll show you in a second, but I'm connecting these numbers on this wheel to sort of show you what this ride is like around your wheel of life. 7, 8, 9, 9, 4, 7, 8, 10. If this is your life, and if this is a wheel,
Quite bumpy.
quite bumpy. Yeah, just notice. Yeah, a little bit of a bumpy ride. Well, if there's an area of this wheel of life that you'd like some coaching on today, what might that area be?
As you can imagine, it's probably family and friends, and it's more the family part than the friend part.
Yeah. So what has it being a 4 right now at this moment in time?
It is a 4 because whenever I have interactions, it drains my energy a bit. So it's, for me, every time a bit of effort to look for the closeness, look for meeting and for discussing topics. And this is something that I only recently realized, and I would love to change it, but it's not only up to me, or maybe it is, but it's hard for me to understand what are really the things that I can do to feel better about it.
Yeah, it's almost like I sense your energy draining as you even talk about this right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a sadness.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to explore what a lower number might be or what a higher number might be, just to kind of explore this area of 1 to 10?
Yeah, lower would definitely be, as soon as you said it, I had this visualization that something would happen to them. So if there was a physical or a mental illness,
Mm,
that would definitely be worse.
mhm,
So thankfully they're all healthy.
mhm,
A higher energy or a higher score would definitely come if I was able to be more transparent and more open
mhm,
and receive more of the feedback that I would deem appropriate.
mhm.
I mentioned that my personal growth is at an all-time high, and I have learned a lot, and I've done a lot of introspection and reflection, and that's probably why I've also felt more distant than ever, but not because anything changed, but because I changed.
Yeah. So here's where we might experiment. And again, you get to be at choice about this as being the client, but it's like we're sort of experimenting with, you're at a 4. We might experiment with what would a 2 look like or a 3 look like, just to know that it's not that, or we might explore what's higher. And we're going to kind of explore the range of numbers. And then you're going to decide, like, where do I want to be? And we'll see what that could look like and what kind of real actions you could take toward that.
Mm-hmm.
How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, so where do you want to explore next? What's a number you'd like to just sort of take a little trip to and explore?
Yeah, I would love to go up in that score.
Okay.
And probably
Number you
what's
want to be.
realistic would be like an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't
Okay.
aim higher than that.
Yeah. So a realistic one is an 8. So if
Yeah.
family was an 8, paint me a picture of what that would be like for you.
So, yeah. So when I talk about family, it's mostly my parents and my brother and his family. So if that were the case, there would be more exchange, so more contact and more openness and more warmth.
Mhm.
And I would feel like I don't have to invest energy in the conversation, whereas now it is a bit draining, as I mentioned, because it feels like effort to
Yeah. And I
keep
just
up the conversation.
just noticing, but it feels like just a second ago you went back to the 4. It feels a little draining.
Hmm.
Would you be open to standing up or to moving a little bit during this coaching session?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because it feels like right here, it's a 4. There's like a 4 energy.
Hmm.
Great. I'll change my camera here so I can stand with you. Yeah. So move to one side of your screen and just sort of feel in the 8. So you mentioned more openness, more
Hmm.
warmth. What else is here in the 8?
Somehow it feels wrong. Let me go here. I think this is more the positive side.
Okay, great. Yeah, yeah. Whichever side feels like the positive side.
Yeah.
I never know
Yeah.
how screens are like if I'm mirroring you or not. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If I go to this side, does this feel like I'm in your 8?
Yeah. This is definitely lighter.
Okay.
Feels more fun, more joy,
Uh-huh.
generally more emotions, also the more difficult emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, also
Really
calmer.
breath. I just noticed you took a really deep breath.
Yeah, I wanted to feel in my body. It's
Yeah.
definitely calmer here
Um,
and somehow relaxed.
yeah. Calmer, relaxed, more emotions. You said more
Mm-hmm.
difficult emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's that for you? What's the deep breath or the freedom there for you?
There's a bit of a blocked energy of sort. Um, there is a wish to show more and communicate more and be more transparent. But at the same time, there is some kind of block. And probably a little bit of fear,
Mhm.
probably a little bit of worry, of self-protection as
Mhm.
well.
That's that openness,
And
the openness that you wanted, because that block
y-
would not be here as much at an 8.
yes,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. So breathe into that for a minute. We're exploring 8. It's open. There's breath. There's no blocked emotion. Sounds like there's some vulnerability here too. Like it's safe enough to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, safety also plays a big role.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny, we talked about in the beginning, I said it's not only up to me,
Mhm.
and maybe a large part of it is, but here especially it feels more like, yeah, it is only up to me.
Mhm.
And it's also up to me to regulate my emotions and my approach to this relationship.
Mhm.
And this feels good.
Yeah, feels good. Do you want to sneak over to 9 just to explore?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. We're here at 9. Oh, you just stood up a lot taller, at least according to my screen, it looks that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. What happens here is actually there is even somehow less vulnerability or less emotions, more of an acceptance,
Mm.
more of a flow feeling of, well, it's fine. Whatever it is, it's fine.
Mm.
I don't, less urge or need for anything to change, but rather acceptance.
Mm. Yeah, and your shoulders are very pulled back, confident. What do
Yeah, it
you,
really shifted a little bit.
yeah. What's there? What's in your shoulders?
Uh, Typically stress, in this case, a certain weight that probably somehow went away unconsciously. Um,
Yeah, you don't have to
Also
hold.
strength. Also
Okay.
strength.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel stronger.
You look stronger. You look like a solid tree right now. Like you have roots are solid and in the ground. Deep
Yeah, it's
beneath.
interesting. Yeah, it also feels like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if tree is
Wow.
the right metaphor for you.
Tree is perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you notice about your roots here?
Yeah, I just feel my feet more, and it's less of a um feels like a strong rooted tree that is not as easily swayed by the wind or by whatever happens outside, and rather knows where it belongs, know where its strengths are and what it is, and yeah, just
So
less
you want to
impacted.
do kind of a tour of the 4, 8, and 9? Or do you want to choose a number in here that you'd like to make more real in your life starting now?
I definitely go for the 9.
Yes.
um,
I love that you said that. I get to vote. Well, I don't really get to vote as a coach, but you said 8 is good enough. So I'm thrilled that you're choosing a 9 because
yeah,
you deserve a 9. You get to have it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So you're in this
Yeah,
9. Stay in the 9, stay in the 9, because we're staying there. Yeah.
okay.
Here you are. What's one step you could take in your life today that would move you in the direction of this 9 with your family?
um It's interesting because it's not really about anything I need to do. It's rather about reminding myself that it's not up to anyone else how I feel about it, rather within me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you have this ability, Lorenz, to be this tree, this solid, strong, peaceful, flexible tree. Will you?
What I can commit to, I know that's probably going to be your next question. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, keep going. I was going to give you some homework, but I think you've got a piece in your mind, so go ahead and share it.
May I ask you to request the homework from me before, and I'll tell you mine after.
Okay, great. Yeah, and then you can choose which one works for you. So I was going to say, whenever you find yourself in that 4 again, feeling in the 4 with family, don't go back to the 4, stay in the 9.
I
Stand
want
in
to
this
feel it.
9. Stand up, feel your tree before you respond to a situation with family.
Okay.
It just takes a minute or two, and then you've got this. Yeah. What's the other thing that came up for you?
I wanted to journal about it
Okay.
and get more real with myself to explore this relationship
Great.
and how I approach it further.
Are you willing to do both?
What was your request? Did it go in
My
the 9?
request was when you feel that experience, like that sort of slumped shoulders, you're in the 4, stand up if you're sitting and embody, we call this embodiment in coactive coaching. Embody your tree, embody your 9, feel that presence that brings to you and that strength and that calm. And be with family from this place.
That's a great one.
Okay. All right.
I'll do that as well.
Ask you how you want to be accountable for making this real in your life. You may be accountable to yourself. You might be accountable to a friend or a family member. If I were your coach, you could have that as an option as well, to be accountable to me. But choose your own accountability so that you make this happen.
Yeah, done.
Okay.
I'll ask my wife to hold me accountable.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lorenz. We're going to take you off screen now. And we're
Thank
going
you.
to brief what the group saw me do as a coach.
All right. Thank you very
you.
much, Michelle.
Well.
That was yummy. I see hearts coming up on the screen right now for you, Lorenz. I don't know if you can see it, but there are lots of hearts and thumbs up coming your way. Thank you so much for showing up and being beautiful you, vulnerable and strong at the same time. Okay, so loving up our client, tingles everywhere. We're going to let that go, or maybe hold it with us while we debrief what we saw the coach do, right? Because this is it. Often in the demos, we do get taken into the story with our client, and we want to bring you back to what did you see our brilliant coach do? And so I happen to have some notes from this beautiful
Well, why don't you
coaching.
start them off, Tina Marie, with something that you noticed, and that'll kick it off. And we'd love for you to put in the chat what you noticed I did as a coach. Or some skills that I used to make that coaching happen.
Right. So she, excuse me, she started with her Design Alliance, you know, checking in and what do you need? Where are you calling in from? Thank you for being here. And then checking in to make sure that he had some numbers to work with. And it was so sweet. He's like, well, actually, I put them in my head. And you saw how beautifully Michelle just danced with that moment. Awesome. That is great. And so she captured those notes from him. So it was such a lovely setup. And really through all of that, she was present at her listening at level 2. And she had her curiosity here, not attached to it looking any one way. what area, right? Because sometimes we think, oh, they're going to go for the lowest number, or they're going to do this, but we have no idea. She was being openly curious. What area would you like to work on? What area jumped out at you? And he shared one. And she was able to pick up the energy behind it. So she used a skill called articulating what's going on. She just stated what she sensed was in that space. And there was something there where you just felt, oh, okay, she gets me. She gets, I'm here. So they both met in that place. Then she went to asking permission, which is a really sweet skill. And Michelle's really good at doing this throughout the coaching, making sure that the client was at choice at all times. So those are the beginning bits and pieces. I could talk forever, but I want to also open it up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So what did you all notice? There might be particular questions you noticed I asked, or maybe particular ways of being, meaning what was my, how was I staying connected with Lorenz? You know, what did you notice? If you were to do this next coaching session yourself as the coach, what would your note to self be that you'd want to try?
Sweet. Oh, we have Simone who says championing. Yes, there was lots of championing, really inviting clients up to the 9, right? At first it was an 8. And then did you see how Michelle took charge and she invited him to go to a 9? And he was, yeah, absolutely, this place. And the whole energy shifted there. So this was a moment where Michelle was really following her intuition. She knows he's got more in him here. And she asked, and he dove in. Yeah.
I see Lilia mentions use of metaphor. Metaphor can sometimes come from the coach, just from sort of an intuition. The tree metaphor came to me in this particular time. Sometimes it can come from the client. Metaphor is a great way to explore things in a way that sort of the feeling of something, you know, to get sort of an overall feeling of something. And it's just another tool to use to explore.
Yeah, the metaphors really connect our thinking brain to our feeling body. And it just has it be a whole experience. So yeah, that was pretty profound. And Michelle put that out there, and she wasn't attached to him taking it either.
No, I didn't know where he was
going. Yeah, which was good.
Staying with it and exploring, Sylvia. Yes, just staying. That's a huge part of coaching, is through our listening skills as coaches, we are always 100% present with our client. We are staying present with them to explore things. And I hope it came through that there was never a moment where I was abandoning him and thinking about what I'm having for lunch, right? We really lock it in terms of being very, very connected to our client. And in our fundamentals course, we talk about the levels of listening. And we really go into that deeply in that course.
Yeah. Well, we also have this place where the need to move the body, right? You saw there where Michelle was taking charge, following an urge. Are you able to get up and move? And as soon as up and move, and got him to that place that he wanted to be at. So again, it's our thinking brain may think we're moving, but sometimes the body needs to follow it so that we're all
or sometimes the body needs to lead it. Like that even happens too. Like sometimes it's a matter of like taking a mini vacation from where our brain is spinning. We all do this because we're very intellectual human beings.
Yes.
And actually getting into our body in order to let our brain catch up to the wisdom that our body can have. So in coactive coaching, we explore things through the brain, we explore things through the body, we explore things through the connection of it. You know, what are those different channels that we can access information that we actually already are holding within ourselves, but we're just not accessing it in the moment.
Yeah, that was the beautiful partnership that you created with each other. When we think of coming near the end, right? When there was homework, they were both kind of already at that stage. Did you see? They were both going there, and it was really fun when.
I loved how we both had an idea too.
I know. I know. It was so fun. And so where did your idea come from, Michelle?
Well, when I saw Lorenz standing in that 9, there was such power and ease in that moment that I so wanted him to be able to reconnect with that. So that was my feeling on the homework of exploring that further. Once again, coming from the body to let the mind catch up. It's a great tool, and it's a great way of presencing. And he may have said no. He may have said, no, I want to journal. That's what I want to do. And I would have let it go, because our clients actually know the right way forward for them.
They absolutely do. And sometimes, just as a little note here, as a coach, if we offer something to our client and they say no, chances are it's exactly what needed to happen, because many of us humans often need to have a no experience to know what our yes is.
Yeah.
So you don't get to take it personally. You get to go, oh yeah, I got my client to have a
great, they're
no.
certain. Yeah.
So if you're not going to do that, you get curious. What will you do? And that didn't happen here. We had both coach and client offer up some homework, and they seem to really connect well, those 2 bits of homework, right? Coming from that place of 9 and journaling to explore more. And so then she dove into accountability. How do you want to be held accountable?
Yeah. What will you do? And, how do you want to be accountable? So that was the coaching session, and we want to give a few minutes toward the end of this webinar to answer some questions that might be percolating in your mind. So feel free to put your questions in the chat. Tina Marie and I will do our best to answer all the questions that come through. And we wanted to leave some time for that.
Yeah, and I'm just looking over at the
and
chat.
then maybe more questions about the coaching session too, which is fine.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting some acknowledgement for Lorenz. Yay. All righty.
Yeah,
You're
and thank you to
welcome,
our other
Sylvia.
folks that had volunteered to be clients as well. Sorry we didn't have time to get some coaching for all 3 of you. Yeah. So how do you balance mentoring versus coaching? That is such a great question, Simon. And it's a question we get in a lot of our courses as well. And there's 2 different skills that are used in mentoring versus coaching. So mentoring, as I define it, is working on our own past experience as a human being in our profession. We can advise folks on what worked best for me. In coaching, which is a very different hat that we wear, we don't see ourselves as any expert from our past experience. We see our clients as being the expert in their own life and their own experience to actually make the best decision for themselves. So it's very different. And for that reason, as coaches, it actually can, I'm questioning my mind here where I want to go. It can be a little easier to coach folks that actually are not in the same profession as we've had in our past lives, right? I used to be a professional photographer. It's hard for me to coach photographers because I got a lot of opinions about photography and the business of photography, okay? As a coach, I am completely open and curious about this other human being and what might work for them. So that's where it's different.
Yeah, it can be. I also take this to the place of having agendas for people, which is why we also encourage you not to push people to you, because it's really hard to relate with somebody you don't have an agenda for. So that's just another version of really coming and holding our clients as naturally creative resourceful. They're not broken. They don't need fixing. They don't need pointing. They just need an invitation into more depth of who they are and what they're curious about and where they want to be in the world and who they want to be and the doing of all of that.
Yeah. And I am noticing the chat is blowing up with a million questions. So
it's okay.
So we're going to move
some
on
other
as
ones.
fast as we can. So what if a client says, I don't know, for your question?
Yes.
So we teach powerful questions in our fundamentals course, which is the first course in our series of coactive coaching. And a powerful question might be, great, what do you know? A powerful question is a question we ourselves as coaches don't know the answer to either, but actually creates a way of being open. Sorry, Tina Marie. I know you're so excited
I
about
just love this so much. It's just bursting out of me. I'm like a volcano.
Go.
There's so many things here. I love it when I hear a client say, I don't know. And I get to do 2 or 3 things. Silence is such a sweet skill in coaching. I'm going to hold space. I'm not going to fill it because maybe I'm uncomfortable with any more than 2, 3, or 4 seconds of silence. I'm training myself to hold it. And many, they need to say, I don't know, to check in to see if we're holding space for them, to go to the place they do know, as they often do know. And they just need to say that I don't know. And then stuff just comes up. It's magical because we're holding them as naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. And if they have to think about it, it's a really good question. So we want to make sure we give them the space to think about it.
We often know it's a great question if the client sort of pauses and has to think about it for a minute, or even has to say, let me get back to you with that in our next conversation. I need to think about that for a while. As a coach, we're like, yes, okay, we gave you something good to think on.
Yes. So here's another one. Oh, it's moving. How do you both get most of your clients? I'm not on social media, so I would love to hear more about other ways to get clients. There's so many ways in which people do this. And one of the ways that really worked for me was certainly when I was getting into certification, you're required to have 5 clients. And, I just moved communities and I was in a new space. So I went to my friends and family and said, hey, I'm doing this coaching thing. If they didn't already know I was doing it, because most of them did, because it was changing my life in profound ways. So I talk about it with anyone and everyone. The fact that I am in this thing called coaching and the impact it's having on me, so that they get to viscerally experience what I'm speaking of. They get to see the shifts that's been happening in me. And then I ask them, keep your eyes. Is there anyone you can think of in your life that might benefit from a little practice session? We do these little 30-minute sessions, and that was definitely one way or 2 ways to do it. Talk about it with everyone and ask for referrals. Ask people. Do you have any other bits and pieces, Michelle, that you would add?
I think that's all great. I'd say yes, double click to everything that you said. How do you keep memory of what the client has said without taking notes? Or do you take notes? That's a great question too. So that gets back into our listening skills that we are taught in the coactive coaching courses. It's not that I don't ever take a note. I might write a word down to remember a word that somebody might be saying over and over that I want to point out to the client that they're saying. But I take very little notes, because actually taking notes takes me out of that conversation with a client and onto this page or the computer, right? What I'm really, really doing is staying in relationship with the client. Tina Marie, I'm noticing the time.
I know. There's just one more thing I want to
make sure that we give you, we let you know about a special offer that CTI is giving you. So Georgetta, could you share a slide? Because this is important for folks to know about. If you're curious about moving forward with coactive courses, you have an opportunity to sign up for the fundamentals course, which is the first course in our series, before the end of this year, and attend any time until December 13th, I believe is our last series of courses, starts on December 13th. And you would receive a discount if you sign up for all the other courses after that. So it's a really wonderful deal. If you're on the fence about doing it, just try the fundamentals course before the end of the year, and you'll know more if you want to move forward. I would suggest that.
I highly recommend it. And I just want to slide in one last question I just caught about fundamentals. It's so perfectly aligned. I would say absolutely a psychotherapist would get so much out of fundamentals. Fundamentals is the course where we really give you a little taste of all the principles that we cover. And it is profoundly
Yeah.
impactful in who you will be in your role, whatever it is, as a parent, as a psychotherapist, as an executive coach, as a professional life coach. Fundamentals is definitely the place to
Yeah, we actually have a lot of
land.
people who come through the courses who are in the therapy fields, who are in the consultant area,
Yeah.
who work in consultancy. Also, folks who are leading teams who want to use coaching skills as a leader. It's profoundly impactful when you work with teams and using some coaching skills in that. Yeah, so if you're curious in any way, the fundamentals course is, we call it like it's like a buffet of coactive coaching. We'll give you a little taste of a whole lot of the coactive coaching skills, and it's very experiential. So you get to really try them out. You get to see demos like what I just did right now to see how the skills are used. And then you get to work with each other to actually put it into practice immediately. So you get to see all the different ways that these coactive coaching skills can be used.
Yeah, it is profound. So love your question, Iva. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So, and Lorenz is thanking us. Thank you, Michelle, for the incredible
welcome.
coaching. Thank you to me for hosting as well. And it was a pleasure to work with all of you, meet you. I hope to see you outside of this room. Please stay in touch with us any way you can on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, however you choose to do so. And hope to see you in a room one day.
Check out the website, coactive.com. You can see the courses that are happening before the end of the year, the fundamentals courses. There's an easy click of the button to just sign up for a course there if you're curious.
Yeah.